G'day traders, welcome to the Traders Outpost. This video today is part 2 of a two-part series on how to use the ATS Portfolio Compiler suite of tools, which we have released this week and is now available in the online shop. You can access our shop by clicking on the link below this video. The intent of this compiler suite of tools is to centrally store comprehensive details about all your preferred trading strategies, to provide a powerful reference library, and to allow you to quickly update your trading strategies with current data to see whether or not they still retain an edge, and if so, then quickly compile them into robust portfolios. Now, when you download and unzip the compiler suite of tools from our shop, you will see it comprises 3 separate files: an MS Excel import spreadsheet, an MS Access Portfolio Compiler database, and an MS Excel Portfolio Creator spreadsheet. The import spreadsheet allows you to quickly export your trade results into the ATS compiler database from a variety of different sources, including our backtesting spreadsheets that are available in our online shop, your strategy testing conducted in both the MT4 or MT5 environments, and your trade histories from your demo accounts or live trading accounts that are linked to FXBlue, which is a popular cloud-based publisher of your trade activity across a number of different trading platforms. The compiler database is a central repository for all your system strategies and a method to quickly compile strategy information for analysis in the Portfolio Analyzer. And the Portfolio Creator spreadsheet is the tool you use in conjunction with report outputs from the database to create powerful risk-weighted portfolios. In part 1 of this series, we showed you how to put your favourite systems to work using the compiler database and the Portfolio Creator spreadsheet. But in this episode, we'll be explaining how to first set up your systems and strategies in the compiler database, and then how to quickly import trade history data into your database from a number of popular sources. So let's get into it. Let's look at the compiler database first. To use this database, you will need a copy of MS Access for Office 365. When you open the extracted database file, you'll be presented with the main menu, which comprises 4 menu buttons and a quit button to exit the application. The 4 menu buttons are arranged in order, commencing with the system list, then the strategy list, the trade history list, and the compiler itself. This database has a relational structure where there is a one-to-many relationship between the systems, the strategies, and the trade histories. You will therefore find that a single system links to many strategies, and a single strategy links to many different trade histories. So we'll start at the beginning and look at the systems list. If you click on the systems list button, you are then taken to the system list view of the database. The system list provides a summary view of each of the systems held in your database, including the name of the system, whether it is currently active in the portfolio compiler or not, or whether it has been archived and currently inactive. At the moment, we don't have any systems recorded in our database, so let's create our first one. First, you enter the name of the system in the System Name field. For the purposes of system definition, we need to choose a name that categorises the overall design features of the system, in which we may have defined an array of different strategies that may have variations in this overall design. For example, we may want to hold information on the possible strategies with an edge we found in our 2 ATS backtest system models that are currently available in our shop. Or we may also want to hold system information from 2 styles of expert advisor that we have created ourselves in the MT4 or MT5 environment. So let's look at a few examples which I'm going to set up now. At the moment, I have 3 different systems in mind, so I will enter them into the database. The first system to enter is the ATS Bollinger Mean Reversion system that identifies those strategies created using the Bollinger Mean Reversion template. After I have entered the name, I then tab to the next record to create the second system. This second category of system comprises those strategies which are divergent in nature, such as trend following or momentum breakout systems, which possess similar design characteristics and have been derived from data mining activities. After I've created this second system, I then tab to the next record to create my third and final system. This final system comprises those strategies that are convergent in nature and have also been developed during my data mining efforts. Each of these 3 separate systems have been categorized according to their broad design features and is a way for me to classify my strategies according to my understanding of how they operate. Using a system name convention allows you to classify your different strategies into categories or species, and will be helpful to you later in the portfolio compilation phase, where you may want to include or exclude a large number of strategies that are classified within these broad descriptions. So now that I've created the system names, it's time to add flesh to the bones of these systems. So I then drill down into each of these systems by double-clicking on them to then access the form view, where I can add further information about these systems for future reference. So let's add further information to the database about the ATS Bollinger Mean Reversion system. A unique ID is automatically assigned to each system by the MS Access program, and the system name has been defined previously. The created date field is used to record the date in which the system was developed, and is a useful reference tool in tracking the chronology of your system development processes. It automatically defaults to today's date if left blank, but an earlier date can be overwritten in this field. In this example, I created this particular system on the 2nd of January 2019, so let's override the default date with this. The effective date field is the date I use to record the date that this strategy is deployed for live trading purposes. If I am yet to trade this system live, then I leave this field blank. The ceased date is the date in which I deactivated this system from future trading activities. In other words, when I no longer wish to use it. If this system is no longer required for future testing purposes, then I click on the archive field to toggle the on condition, and I also enter the date that the system became inactive in the ceased field. The system active field is used to activate this system for portfolio compilation purposes. If it is unchecked, then it is not used in the compiler, but if it is checked, then it is automatically made available for portfolio compilation in the compiler. The attachments field is where you link your system to your research files and other system files that you hold on your PC or your network. You have the ability to attach any file on your PC or network to this attachment field, and this attachment then becomes embedded in the database. You can use this to attach your design research undertaken for the system collection results, any design logic or literature that is relevant to this system, and any other relevant research materials. For instance, in this example, I want to link this system to the ATS Bollinger Mean Reversion template spreadsheet that provides all the information about the specifics of the system. I also have a visual diagram of the system that I would like to attach to this system information. Simply use the Add buttons to find the files you want to link to, or the Remove button if you want to remove some of these attachments. Once you have linked to these files, you can then simply double-click on them to activate them. For example, I now want to see the visualization chart of the system, so I double-click on the attachment or highlight it and select Open. The Notes field allows you to provide any details about the system that help you to quickly understand it on perusal. In this case, I've added basic details about the nature of this system and how it is deployed. This form view also includes a listing of all strategies that are categorized under this system heading. At the moment, this is blank, as I have not yet created or assigned any strategy to this system. So that's it for the moment with the ATS Bollinger Mean Reversion system. I therefore return to the previous system listing by clicking on the Close Form button. Now, in exactly the same way, we also provide additional details about the other two systems, and to spare you the blow-by-blow account, I'll simply show you what has been created by stepping through them. The divergence strategies comprise data mine strategies developed using EA Studio, whose design logic applies principles of cutting losses short and letting profits run. I've included attachments such as the design logic used to create the strategies associated with this system, and in the Notes field have outlined the broad design parameters used to ensure that they represent divergent strategies. The system titled MT4 EA Convergence Strategies comprise data mine strategies developed in EA Studio, whose design logic has been configured to find robust mean reverting strategies. Of course, over time, this system list will grow with the many different trading styles you explore over your trading career, but you will at least be able to find them easily in this one-stop shop database if you want to revisit them at a later date. So now we have entered information about these three systems into our database, and now we are ready to define our strategies that link to these systems. So let's get back to the main menu. Now we want to navigate to the strategy list by clicking on the strategy list button. The strategy listing, like the prior system listing, is your way to navigate around the different strategies held in the database quickly. At the moment, the listing is blank as we have yet to create our first strategy, so let's get to it. We use a unique numbering system known as magic numbers as a method to identify each unique strategy in the database. These frequently are automatically generated in some of your Expert Advisor developer programs, but often they are not. However, every system in this database needs to use a magic number that uniquely identifies the strategy. So, in creating our first strategy that was developed with our ATS Bollinger Mean Reversion template, I will need to assign my own unique number to the various strategies created within this model. I tend to use a convention where each system is defined in different million increments. This therefore allows a maximum of 1 million different strategies for each system in the database. You will never reach 1 million different strategies for a single system, so the convention ensures that you can uniquely define each strategy. So, for the first strategy within the Bollinger Mean Reversion system template, I will assign the first strategy a number of 1,000,001 and therefore lift the magic number by 1 for each new strategy added under this system listing. So let's do this. After I've created the magic number for the first strategy, I then tab to the System ID field and use the drop-down box to link this strategy to its system classification that I've already created. In this case, I will assign my first strategy to the ATS Bollinger Mean Reversion system template. Then I tab to the strategy name field. The strategy name field is fairly straightforward and is a chosen name that helps you quickly identify the strategy. I tend to use the following nomenclature when defining my strategies. I use the model name followed by the instrument traded, followed by the time frame, and then the magic number assigned. So I will now label my first strategy ATS BMR Euro USD D1 1,000,001. I then tab to the market field. This field is used to identify the instrument traded, in this case the Euro USD. Also, with the time frame field, you simply select the time frame used to trade the chosen strategy. In this case, the daily time frame is D1. Now, in some instances, you may have a strategy that trades multiple markets. For example, the Euro USD, the GBP JPY, and the AUD USD, or multiple different time frames, such as the D1, M30, H4. In that instance, you would simply need to separate magic numbers and strategies for each market and for each time frame. The reason for this is that under automation, you need to configure your EAs in the MT4 or MT5 environment to trade a single instrument and time frame. Furthermore, you need to conduct any backtesting against each instrument and each time frame separately. Like the System Form Edition, the created date is the date the strategy was created. The effective date is the date that the strategy commenced live trading. If yet to implement live, then just leave this blank. And the Archive Strategy field and the Cease Date field is used when you no longer wish to use a strategy. By selecting Active, the strategy is made available to the Portfolio Compiler module of this program. You can toggle this field either on or off to include or exclude this strategy from the compilation process. The Notes field comprises pertinent details about the strategy which you would like to highlight for future reference. And the Attachments field is where you attach any relevant files that are pertinent to that strategy, including your expert advisors themselves, any test results that are related to that strategy, and other relevant research. Now you can use either the form view or the list view as a method to add information to a strategy or system, and then use the list as a method to quickly find and sort or filter strategies. But you can use either the list view or form view for both purposes. So now that we have entered one strategy record, I will now show you the end result of entering 29 strategies into this database. Let's now use the filters in the list view to find out more about them. So let's find out how many have been assigned to the ATS Bollinger Mean Reversion system. By selecting the filtered list, I see that there are 10 strategies now assigned to the Bollinger system. By then selecting divergent strategies, I see that there are a total of 14 strategies in this collection. And by selecting convergent strategies, I see that we have 5 different strategies in this collection. The filters available for this list are vast, so have a play around with them. These filters are reset every time you close out of the list view, so if you want to revert back to the default unfiltered listing, simply close the list view and then re-enter the strategies list. So now let's see how many strategies I have that trade Euro-USD. Or let's find out how many strategies operate on the daily time frame. The power of the sort and filter functionality of MS Access is vast, so you can see how we use the list view to quickly find our strategies in the entire collection. So now that we have loaded the strategies into the database, it is now time to load the trade histories assigned to each strategy. The database allows us to attach backtest trade results, demo trade results, or live trading results to each strategy, so you can probably now see why we refer to this solution as a one-stop shop if you're trading Korea. To quickly load trade histories into the database from the backtest environment, demo environment, or live trading environment, we use the import spreadsheet tool designed within MS Excel. So let's now have a look at how we do this. When you open the Excel spreadsheet, you are presented with 4 separate worksheets, which you can see at the bottom of the screen. We have the ATS Backtest Template worksheet, used to capture backtest trade history from the Excel templates we provide in our shop. The MT5 Strategy Tester worksheet, which is used to capture backtest results from the MT5 Strategy Tester. The MT5 Strategy Tester worksheet, which is used to capture backtest results from the MT5 platform. And the FXBlue worksheet, which is used to capture trade history from either your demo or live trading accounts. So let's start at the beginning and show you how to transfer trade history information from the ATS Excel templates into the database. In this particular example, we will be using trade data generated by the following ATS Backtest Bollinger Mean Reversion template, which I have open on the screen. Now, before we start to collect trade data, we first need to use the free ATS Data Collector tool, which is available in our shop, to provide important data used to correctly apply trading costs to our backtest result, including the tick value applied to the data, local exchange rates, interest holding costs for the trade, otherwise known as swap, the commission per trade, and an estimate of slippage per trade. So let's say that we want to add the trade results from our Euro-USD strategy D1 test using the ATS Bollinger Mean Reversion template. We therefore need to open our MT4 platform and apply the MT4 ATS data collector tool to the EUR/USD on the daily time frame to obtain some of the necessary information required for our database. We have previously recorded 2 YouTube videos on how to obtain this information using the ATS data collectors for both MT4 and MT5, so I won't rehash it here. So after we have applied the ATS data collectors to our instrument and time frame, we are now ready to load this information into our database to obtain realistic results. So we now revert back to our import spreadsheet and click on the tab ATS Backtest Templates. You will see that the process of worksheet completion is listed in 18 discrete steps, so let's go through them. On step 1, you click on the button to clear previous data loaded into the worksheet. Step 2, you assign a unique magic number to this strategy. In this case, I assign the unique number 1,000,001 to identify these trade results as belonging to the ATS Bollinger EUR/USD D1 strategy I've already created. And now for the remaining steps, I simply transfer the information that I've already collected in my template to complete the process. And I will do this now. So now that we have followed these steps, we are now ready to copy the trade history from the Trades tab of our Excel testing template and paste it into cell A26 of this worksheet. I will now demonstrate how we do this. We navigate to the Bollinger Band Excel template which we have used to derive our strategy and then click on the Trades tab. We then highlight the trade records that we want to import to the database and then press Ctrl+C on the clipboard to copy these trade details to the clipboard. We then navigate to the import spreadsheet and paste these records by clicking on cell A26 and then selecting Paste Special from the menu. This copies the trade records as values to the spreadsheet and allows the model to reformat this information into a format that is accepted by the database. So we then navigate to the blue region of the spreadsheet and highlight all the reformatted trade records commencing from cell AC26 and extending across all the trade records, and then we select Ctrl+C on the keyboard to copy this information to memory. We then navigate back to the database strategy list and enter the form view of the relevant strategy. If the strategy already has trade records recorded in the database, then we select the entire table by clicking on the table selector grid, and then we delete these records by pressing delete and accept this deletion. We are then presented with a blank table to paste the trades we have already copied onto our clipboard. So we select the first row of the blank table and then press Ctrl+V using the keyboard to paste this data into the database. We will receive a message that we are adding a number of trade records to the database, and we select Yes to allow this import to proceed. And that's it. Your trade history data has now been successfully configured and transferred to the database. The steps we take for importing data using the other worksheets are very similar to this process, so I won't go over it again, but it's pretty straightforward. But I'll show you briefly the main steps to take to achieve this for the MT4 platform, MT5 and FXBlue. We'll start with MT4. So let's say we want to copy backtest trade results from our MT4 platform into the database. Firstly, we move to the MT4 platform and go to an expert advisor that has just finalised a test run in Strategy Tester. Now I want to copy these backtest results into the database. So I follow the prior steps in creating the system name and the strategy name as we've dealt with before, and now we are ready to accept this trade data. For example, this particular EA we're looking at now is one of the MT4 EA divergence strategies which we have created in the database. So this strategy belongs to the divergence suite of systems, and the magic number assigned to this strategy has been automatically produced in the programmatics, and we will use this number in its identification in the database. So as previously explained, I set up my system in the database, which can be seen here in the list view and in the form view. I then complete the 17 steps outlined in this worksheet in the same manner as the prior example I gave, and I am now ready to copy the trade history into memory. So I navigate back to the MT4 Strategy Tester and click on the Results tab. This lists the trade details I want to export to the database. I then right-click on the mouse anywhere within the results table and select Copy All from the options. This transfers the results to the clipboard. I then navigate back to the worksheet on the MT4 Strategy Tester tab and click on cell A26, which represents the commencing cell to transfer the data. I then right-click and select Paste Special, or alternatively select Ctrl-V using the keyboard and paste the results into this section of the worksheet. And now you can see we have just transferred the trade history to the spreadsheet, and we are now ready to copy these results to the compiler itself. Like the prior example, I then highlight the blue cells, starting from cell Z26, to encapsulate all the trade details that I wish to copy, and then I select Ctrl-C using the keyboard to copy these results to memory. I then open the compiler and select this strategy from the strategy list by double-clicking, and then I paste the trade records held in memory by the same process as we followed previously. And that's all there is to it. The same sequence of steps are followed with the MT5 Backtest module, but with a slight twist. When you undertake a backtest in MT5, you need to select the Backtest tab and then right-click to navigate to Report. You then select Open XML MS Office Excel 2007, which saves the backtest results to an Excel file. And when you open this file, you need to copy the results from both the Orders table and the Deals table. Here is how we do it. Just like the prior MT4 example, I first set up the system and strategy details in the compiler. I also use the MT5 data collector to obtain the necessary information for my import function. I then open the import spreadsheet and navigate to the MT5 Strategy Tester tab. I follow steps 1 to 17 using information obtained from the ATS data collector for MT5, and I am then ready to receive the trade history data from MT5. So I then navigate to MT5 after running the backtest and then select Backtest. I right-click as per the prior instructions and copy the Excel file to my desktop and then open it. Now I need to copy the data from both the Orders table and the Deals table in the Excel file. So I highlight the data records of the Orders table and select Ctrl-C to copy this to the clipboard. I then navigate back to the Import spreadsheet and paste this data from cell A28. I then return to the MT5 Report Tester spreadsheet and highlight the records in the Deals tab that I wish to copy, and once again return back to the Import spreadsheet to transfer this data to cell P27 onwards. So I have now transferred my data history to the Import spreadsheet, and I am now ready to transfer this data back to the compiler. I once again select the blue cells and copy the trade records into the clipboard, and then paste these results into the compiler. And that's all there is to it. And now for the final worksheet of this exercise. For accessing trade history results on live trading and demo trading accounts, our preference is to use FXBlue to access this information. FXBlue Live is a free web-based service for analysing and publishing your trading results from a range of platforms including MT4, MT5, CTrader and others. More information can be obtained on their website at fxblue.com, fxblue.com. In this example, I have navigated to one of my accounts with FXBlue and have selected the Excel output report from the FXBlue menu. A CSV file is generated that contains a comprehensive trade history, and I have included an example here. Before we can export the trade details into our import spreadsheet, we need to apply filters to this CSV file to isolate each magic number. The way we do this is by highlighting the row headings at the top of the table, and then we apply the filter icon, like this. I then refer to column U titled Magic Number and filter the list for the magic number that I wish to use to obtain trade history for my chosen strategy in the database. For example, in this exercise, I want to copy the trade history associated with magic number 1338475 that is recorded in the database for one of my chosen strategies. So I select this magic number from the filtered selection list. I then check column A to ensure that all the trades are closed. If not, then I filter column A to include only closed trades. I then sort this trade history by the close time field from oldest to newest, like this. And then I open my import spreadsheet and click on the FXBlue tab and complete steps 1 to step 16. Having completed these steps, I then copy the trade history from FXBlue and paste this information into A22 of the worksheet, like this. And as in prior examples, I then highlight the blue reformatted trade history from cell Z22 to include all trade records, and then select Ctrl+C to copy this to the clipboard. And finally, I then revert back to the compiler database and paste these records into the trade history section of the relevant strategy. Now, it's important to note that the database can accept live trade histories, backtest results, and walk-forward demo trade results for the same magic number. These results are displayed separately against the same magic number in the compiler and allows you to directly compare your backtest results against your demo walk-forward results against your live trading results. So in summary, part 2 of this series has shown you how to import backtest results, walk-forward demo account results, and live trade histories from a variety of different sources into the compiler database. There is a bit of a learning curve with these tools, but once you get into the swing of it, they become a breeze. You then start to appreciate the power you have in your hands, which give you a big leg up in your trading journey. So stick with it, as the rewards involved in this powerful suite of tools are significant when used to its full capability. So if you like this video, then make sure you become a subscriber to this channel to receive further useful information about updates on our trading tools. Go on, click that subscribe button now. You can also read more about us at ATS by clicking on the website link below this presentation. Cheers guys, and remember, there's gold in them there hills.